All right, we're here early morning on the floor of the 2025 Nanjing show. I'm standing right outside the special exhibit right now. It's so early they haven't even let the dealers in yet. You can see them queued up outside there. So now's a great chance for us to go into the special exhibit, and we'll give you an exclusive look without the crowds, without the people, anywhere. So come on, let's go take a look at the special exhibit here at the 2025 Nanjing show. All right, well, we enter this way. The queue for coming in is right off to the edge here, and the theme is really purple. So descend deeply into the Earth's purple nebula. And you've seen this color echoed throughout all the marking materials and everything here at the Nanjing show. So here we just have a lot of great text talking about purple and setting the stage for people who are coming in. We have a small old-fashioned display case right here, so you could imagine all the purple minerals that you're going to see, and then that leads straight to this string curtain, and when you walk in, you're exposed to the majesty of purple. Wonderful display cases going all the way around the room. Let me give you a quick pan. And these are the display cases that, I mean, you see Graham Sutton selling these display cases. You see them all over the Tucson show. And it's actually coming into this darkened room with these highlighted cases, all lit up with purple inside. Really makes for a nice, spectacular kind of exposure to what we're about to see here. And so in these early morning hours, we have staff cleaning the windows because, as you can imagine, people pressing up against it and really trying to get a better look of this. I'm going to turn my lights off so we can see better what's in the case. We got spodumines, we got tanzanites here. This is beautiful stuff. More spodumines. Fantastic cut spodumine right there. Variety kunzite. And the neat thing about what they've done with this year's exhibit is we have more minerals to look at. Yep. Now, this is actually really cool. Let me get back to that thought in a second. This thing right here, this is sugilite. And I've always seen sugilite sold in rough form. I've seen people like Nikolai Medvedev buying that sugilite and using it in his incredible Intarsia boxes. I have never seen a big specimen-sized piece of sugilite like this. This is wonderful. I love looking at all the ways that the colors are kind of weaving its way throughout this entire piece. And it's rather a thick piece. And even the backside has got some lovely color in there. So this was very kind of, excuse me, impressive to me. Because again, something I had never seen, just a big chunk of sugilite, and it's just got that, that Prince Purple Rain purple. What can I say? It's fantastic. Got an amethyst top here. So going back what I was saying earlier, last year's exhibit, we had, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 specimens, and those specimens were from Mr. Peng's private collection. And so it was just pieces that he owned. This year, a lot of these pieces are from Mr. Peng's private collection, but he's also invited a lot of other collaborators to come in and bring their pieces, probably primarily Chinese dealers, Chinese collectors, friends of his, but that makes it a lot more expansive, and I think it's a big step up from what was done last year. Not to say last year wasn't spectacular, but we're kind of starting to we're seeing the growth and the expansion of the scope of some of these exhibits now. And this, to me, is just a fantastic amethyst geode with a superb calcite just growing in the middle of there. Long, delicate, beautiful, and large. I mean, that thing is quite big. So very, very lovely piece. So yeah, this is going to be a trend that I think is going to continue, where Mr. Peng is going to have more people come in, more collaborators come in. So we're going to start seeing a lot more different kinds of minerals other than just the ones that Mr. Peng has. And again, he's got his private museum, and that was featured, I believe it was the March April 2025 issue of Rocks and Minerals magazine. Gene Myron wrote a beautiful article on Mr. Peng's private collection or private museum, and I provided the photographs for that. And a lot of the pieces from there ended up in the exhibit. Almost passed by this. This is the ultraviolet display. Yeah, so by having more of these pieces from all over the place, different collectors and dealers, I think it really starts expanding what we can accomplish with the exhibits here. I really hope to see more Chinese museums participate in exhibiting here. I think that would be a fantastic thing. Certainly when you come to a show like Nanjing, you don't have a lot of time to go visit any mineralogical museums, and I honestly believe that Mr. Peng is the only mineralogical museum in Nanjing. Certainly you can travel to other regions, but that becomes a little bit cumbersome. But if Mr. Peng can invite other museums to bring, other Chinese museums, to bring some of their specimens to the exhibit here and put them on display, I think that would be a really, really, really good thing for both the museums and the attendees. Could really enjoy that. That's another great piece of sugilite back there. It's different than the first one we saw and kind of more pure of the purple color, but not as massive, obviously, but still beautiful. Okay, so once we get through the display area, we come into this area here, and it branches off to the right there, and then it goes over to the left here. We're going to go to the right first. And again, we have this very lovely decorated purple drapes. And so it lends kind of an air of drama. And when you come around, that's the drama that you see. This is, I believe they call this the boat. And this is from Mr. Peng's private collection. And it's normally featured in his private museum. I was at the museum last night, and where this normally sits is just a big empty spot, very much looking like this. So it's lovely to see this. We did not see this last year. I know Gene really wanted to see it, but it was packed away, or I'm not sure where it was, but we didn't get the chance to see it in person. But it is lovely, absolutely lovely to see it in person now. I'm really happy that he was able to bring it out and put it on display. I mean, just the way that just the weight of it, the way that calcite kind of balances off the big dome or the big sphere or semi-sphere of the amethyst there. And this calcite really kind of makes it seem like that's a sail. And just fabulous piece there. So this gets its very own room in and by itself, as it deserves. What we enter here is what they kind of call the purple meditation area. And it's very conceptual, but it's fascinating what they've done. They have these pieces of art using purple as a predominant hue on both sides, which are kind of interesting and neat. And then you look at these things here, and you wonder, what the heck are these? And there are 12 different ovals that are mounted on the wall there, each with stones, purple background, and kind of different movement and things inside of it. And if you read the wall panel, what this is the 12 zodiac signs presented in this way, incorporating both the color purple and the minerals or rocks that that make up any kind of mineral shell. So that's kind of neat. And then we come around here, and we see this kind of piece of sculpture, which is sort of looks like a piece of driftwood. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my light on for this. Kind of painted driftwood, gold accents, and nice little amethyst quartz, Mexican amethyst quartz right in the middle there. And I think it lends itself very well, and with the garden background, it has a very kind of Zen feel, and I think it shows people how minerals can bring your senses back to nature a little bit, and it's absolutely lovely. And then we have these three wall ornaments, each again focusing on, these actually look like flowers in here. So incorporating minerals, quartz with, with artwork. And so rather than saying that just the mineral itself is a piece of art, this is incorporating the mineral with man-made objects together, creating a combined work of art. Then you have this kind of neat, again, Zen garden kind of feel. Viewing stones, just a sense of peace, which kind of sends the message that perhaps these minerals that we love so much can bring us peace. Here's another piece of artwork where, again, we have the color purple and this very fern-like design coming out of the quartz cluster. And again, it's art, not just minerals by themselves and looking at minerals and calling them art, but you're adding a human element to it, which is really what makes art unique versus something that's just made by nature. It's mankind's touch on it, mankind's influence on it, that makes the art. And so, as we can see here, and as we can see in the pieces on the wall, it's the incorporation of natural art and man-made art, which kind of speaks to the reasons this market, the Chinese market, is very into those wooden bases that I keep talking about. And we've done some interviews with some dealers talking about their inspiration behind creating some of those wooden bases. And there's some interesting stories there. So it's kind of a cultural thing, a way to understand what's going on here. This room in here, they normally have, they don't have it right now because it's so early hour, but they have a polarized microscope here. And what they do is they have a projector, and it projects the colored polarized image up on the wall there, which it is, again, it's minerals, the real world, tied into colors, creating a piece of artwork. Now, this is the final stage of this special exhibit, and it looks like I've walked into an old Victorian living room. And Mr. Peng is very interesting because he spends a lot of time visiting the different shows, really learning what he can. It's his dedication to making the Nanjing show as good as it can possibly be. And so you look at something like this, and the first thing that comes to mind is, well, this is something that possibly I would see at the Munich show. And I think the influence of the Munich show is unmistakable here. It's created kind of a piece of life, a slice of life, lets you imagine how minerals may be exhibited in a home. And I think he's done a fantastic job here. And if you read this, what you learn is that these cases are actually populated by pieces from young collectors. So these are all young Chinese collectors, and each one has their own case, and they get a chance to exhibit some of their minerals. And so it's a combination of a set design that you would expect to see at the Munich show and something like you would expect to see from the Young Mineral Collectors, that Facebook group that has made such strides for the youth in our community. And this, to me, was very interesting to see. Thumbnails. So here's a Chinese collector, a young Chinese collector that is obviously really into thumbnails. And so you may remember, I want to say it was maybe 2000, 2013, at the Munich show, they had a connoisseur exhibit of thumbnails. And these were some of the best thumbnail collectors in the world put in this display. And throughout the entire show, there was a line like 5 people deep trying to get in and see these thumbnails. And it was really kind of Europe's exposure to the high-end thumbnail market, and it was a wonderful thing to behold, and it was a wonderful thing to film. Here it's nice to see that thumbnails, even in China, can be a big thing. We've got collectors here who are interested in this, because when we think of China, you know, we usually say, oh, Chinese, all they want are big things. And this suggests perhaps that may not be a universal truth. So I thought that was really cool. This takes it even a step further. Okay, so you have thumbnails here, which again, wonderful to see. You have thumbnails arranged by the colors of the rainbow, the Roy G. Biv there. And this to me is something that I always love. I reported on this last year with one of the dealers, but here you have thumbnails that represent the actual mineral elements that have been used in the past and perhaps are still used to this day to create paint pigments. And those paint pigments are then used to create works of art, whether they be abstract like this or paintings of mineral specimens. So I really, really appreciate this display. And I love this little living room suggesting how minerals can be exhibited in this cabinet, even though they're all thumbnails. If you look to scale, those would be huge museum pieces. So what a lovely job. And this is fantastic. Look at this. This is a collection of Perky type boxes. These are smaller than actual Perky boxes, but inside is a collection of plastic. I'm guessing those are going to be plastic, perhaps 3D printed, but they are crystal models. And just to show you the dedication here, on the bottom shelves, those are all little plastic crystal models. I love seeing that. And then another piece of artwork that suggests the use of the minerals as pigments to create art. So wonderful stuff. And this is kind of interesting because this is also a different way of expressing art and minerals. So each of these rather large boxes almost looks like a naturescape. And there's quite a collection here. So, you know, we always say, collect what makes you happy. Don't worry about what other people say. And I think this is actually a very neat way of building a collection. And then, I don't know the story, but perhaps this collector is also a photographer, and this might be samples of his or her photography. Maybe that's a QR code that you can tap on and look at further works by that collector. Coming around, classic museum style exhibit cases here. We got more crystal models there. Even more crystal models. I love to see that part of the mineral world is understood and appreciated. And here we actually see stamps, mineral stamps, and I'm trying to see what country this might be from. Not quite sure, but we have a Chinese collector who's interested in that, and perhaps more from the same collector. All right, going over here, something we've seen again in Munich, and we've seen it in Tucson, but mineral paintings next to mineral specimens. And in this case, I believe those are the same. There's a dioptase there, and a little mimetite, amethyst, and a dioptase. So that's kind of fun. Here, I was talking to this gentleman yesterday, and he is deeply into collecting mineral books, and these are old Chinese and Japanese mineral books. And again, a young collector, I would guess he's in his early 20s, taking such a sophisticated interest and look into collecting mineral books. And it was great to see his excitement and his eagerness in sharing with me some of the things that he had here. But yet again, neat example of what the youths here in China are doing. And then we come to this final case with some lovely specimens in here. Very, very nice quality, shows a appreciation for aesthetics and size. It doesn't have to be big. And these are great pieces. And actually, that brings me to this. This is a San Francisco wolfenite with barite, and if you look real closely, little balls of orange mimetite in there. And that is from the San Francisco mine in Sonora, Mexico. And I actually lived at that mine for 2 years, and there's a story that goes with this mineral specimen. And so that's going to be the next clip. You can hear the story about that piece and how minerals do indeed tell stories. That's it for the special exhibit here at the 2025 Nanjing Show. Hope you enjoyed it.